All right, welcome here to Inside Lions Football. With me, as always, is the head coach, Dan Burack. Coach, interesting last couple weeks.
Yeah.
Lose a tough one at Somerset. Then you come back the next week, guys beat Benjamin on the road. First time we beat Benjamin in a while. Kind of walk us through these last couple weeks and what that roller coaster's been like.
Yeah, after the Somerset game, we were pretty upset. Obviously we wanted to forfeit for the district championship. It didn't go our way. But after the game, we came together in the locker room and we kind of looked at it and we said, God hands us different paths, right? God wants us to, he has a designated path. It's not for us to decide where it goes. And so I believe God handed us a little bit of adversity that was needed to really propel us forward.
So let's talk about that Benjamin game. So we go there once again. We get scheduled on homecoming. I don't recommend it because it seems like we played pretty well on homecoming games. What was our mentality going into a game like that, knowing that Benjamin has had our number here for a few years?
Yeah, Benjamin, they usually have a pretty big offensive line, defensive line, a lot of talented guys all over the field. And we knew we were walking into that. I know they had some guys that kind of departed from there that would have helped them out. But, the big thing for us we wanted to kind of snap that losing streak. It is a rivalry game. And like you said, if you hand us over to homecoming, it just adds a little extra fuel. But we were dialed in. I think, like I said, when God, puts us down different paths and we start talking about adversity, how to handle adversity, it really showed because, going into that game, we had some injuries here and there and we didn't really know what we were going to get over at Benjamin. And then all of a sudden it's 6-0 going into halftime and you're like, okay, we got to really tighten this thing up. And the boys responded well at halftime and they got fired up. And, Fletcher Hodges put the offense on his back and did what he did. The defense, really played, I think, a really great game. 2 goal line stops to stop 2-point conversions. Hudson Champion with a big field goal block. So, all those little things just kind of added up to where, when we're in close games, I feel really comfortable because our guys don't have to quit them.
Let's talk about that defense a little bit more because they have really come to play the last several weeks. Even the Somerset gets 22 points, but really, if you watch that game, our defense held firm to about 10 points in that game.
Yeah.
So what's been the key for the defense because really they have carried us through a lot of these games?
Yeah, we got, there's a lot of guys that played last year on the defense, so that always helps. But really and truly, it's just some really young guys have stepped up. A lot of freshmen, a lot of sophomores. And some guys that, they gave us some production last year but are off the charts, like Arden Gentry, Hudson Champion, Peyton. Braden Simpson as a sophomore flying around, Caleb Scroggins flying around, Ed Sean Sosa, Levi, leading everything. And, our DBs are getting to a point where we're starting to get a lot of trust in them. And so you kind of see these guys are really bought into that system. They feel comfortable in it. And I think there's a little bit more of a personal side on the defense. You don't get to make mistakes. Mistakes result in points. So it was really nice just to see, when it gets tough, we're able to kind of lean on the defense. And that's good for an offense, that's young and trying to really figure itself out.
You mentioned Fletcher. Fletcher obviously had a big game, getting a couple more scores. He's been kind of a big play guy this year. But talk a little bit about his offensive line because they really did a good job opening up holes for him. And he read them well, but they did the dirty work. Yeah,
we made a few changes on the offensive line front, but all in all, every single one of them, even the receivers that were out there, the tight ends, Jacob Bristol coming in as backside tight end and really just working his tail off. Ed Sean and Ethan just, plowing over guys. It was really fun to watch. So again, another young component of the offense led by a freshman, a lot of sophomore linemen, junior linemen, led by Nate Heyman and, Ridge Martin really just getting it done. Kyle got moved to tackle, did an excellent job. But it was just really fun to watch them kind of just impose their will. And I think that goes back to how important it is in the off season, in the summers that we get in, we train with Coach Evans, Coach Smith, we're in the weight room constantly. Because that was kind of where we've been able to hold our own in the trenches.
So now we look forward to this week. We've got Glade Central coming in. We'll talk about the Raiders here in a second, but it's senior night. So I'm going to give you a senior name. You give me one word to describe that player. Give me as many words as you want, but let's look for one at least. So let's start with Hudson Champion.
Reverend.
Let's go to Ridge Martin.
I think the best one that kind of describes Ridge is the fact that he's overcome adversity. I've really been proud. I would say growth.
Nathan Heyman,
Relentless.
Peyton Hughes,
There's a lot of good words for Peyton, but I'm just going to say dependable.
Arden Genty,
Explosive.
Tice Porche,
Multi-sport athlete, went to state and a bunch of stuff. But I would just have to say dependable. Yeah.
So that senior class as a whole, you only got 6, which is pretty small for a football senior class. What have they meant to the team this year? You know, how have they led a very young team to a 5-3 record?
That senior class has been great because they were the guys, you know, that I've had, you know, for almost all 4 years now. And just to kind of see their growth, their maturity kind of take over. Smaller senior class than we've had in the past, but like those guys, how they hold the team together, they all have a different component, whether you're Hudson, who's a verbal leader, or you're a Nate Heyman, who's just relentless at practice, never taking reps off. New guys kind of like Arden, who's it's only his 2nd year playing football, but looks like he's a 4-year starter now. So just seeing these guys, you know, Peyton Hughes holding guys accountable in the locker room, Ridge getting a young offensive line and building good habits, Tice taking a bunch of young receivers and DBs and really just molding them. That's really awesome to watch. It's really fun to watch just because, again, you're depending on your seniors to have maturity and leadership, and to watch these guys just kind of mold, especially a really young team that's sophomore heavy. You really get excited for what God has planned for us in the future.
So now, going back to Blade Central, the team that's coming in this week, this turns out to be a pretty big game for us with playoff implications. Glades, I believe, comes in this week ranked 4th in the region. We're 6th. What do you look for in this game in terms of how it projects playoff-wise, both in the seeding and just what it means for us to have the game with them?
Yeah, you know, the big thing that we told our team this week is, you know, nothing is guaranteed, right? So, you know, we've kind of have our projections of where we're going to fall with certain scenarios for the playoffs. But what we told our entire team is that this could possibly be our last game, you know, at our home stadium. And for our seniors, they understand, like, this might be the last time they take that field in front of our home crowd. So I think that adds a little bit of heightened, you know, intensity, and it just kind of a little bit more of a second gear, a little bit more motivation to want to go in and compete. But, you know, they're a great team. I mean, they're 7-1. You know, they got a lot of guys that are explosive and can make big plays. You know, so I think this really kind of is it is a playoff game. There's a chance we could see them again in the playoffs. So, you know, this is playoff football for the next, you know, hopefully 6-7 weeks.
So guys that are coming out, it's going to be 6:30 on Friday is the kickoff, but we've got senior night, and that's going to be at 5:55. There's a lot of seniors we're going to recognize, so we want you guys to come out early, get there. It's blackout. I know the guys love to wear black uniforms. Fans wear black, support these guys. It's going to be fun. We're not only recognizing football, we've got band and cheer, dance, and all the fall sports as well at halftime.
Yeah, come out, support your seniors. Again, underclassmen, one day you're going to be in the same spot that they are. So come out, support, show the love. But I couldn't be happier for all of our seniors on campus. They do such an amazing job of just fostering a great environment for our younger guys. So
absolutely.
Yeah, go
come
Lions.
out and support them. Yep.